And now back to the Gunsmith Show with John and Jake Smith.
All right, we are back here at the Gunsmith Show, and we are here today with a special guest for us, coming from the Project Appleseed vault himself, Mr. Bill Glaser. Are you there, Bill?
Good morning, guys.
Good
Thanks
morning.
for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're glad to have you, buddy. Hey, I'm John, and Jake's the one you talked to yesterday. Now, our voices are very similar, so if you get confused, just say, "Hey, guys." You know, that's all you got. You don't have to try to keep it straight because we can barely keep that straight. So, where are you at this morning, Bill?
Excuse me?
Where are you this morning?
I was supposed to be in Lexington, Massachusetts. That didn't work out, so I'm back here in Michigan.
Well, that's it's nothing wrong with you being here. I feel safer with you in inside the state here. So, well, I know you got a lot to talk to us about Appleseed today. Jake, lead us in, buddy.
Yeah. Now, Project Appleseed is, and correct me if I say anything off key here, Bill. Now, it's started by the Revolutionary War Veterans Association, correct?
Yes, it is. Yes. Appleseed is really the only, well, I won't say the only because we have a second thing we're doing now, but Appleseed was the primary activity of the Revolutionary War Veterans Association. And of course, none of us are Revolutionary War veterans. It's kind of a tongue-in-cheek thing, just paying homage to our founding fathers.
Right. Yeah. It's, it kind of makes sense. You think about it, the veteran, and the Revolutionary War and what you guys are teaching. Now, the significance of today, April 19th. Tell us a little bit about the history behind today and why you were going to be in Lexington, Massachusetts.
Well, today, April 19th, is one of the most important days in American history. And unfortunately, because of the way things are taught in schools nowadays, most Americans aren't even aware of the importance of this day. This is the day that we decided as a people to break with the crown and open fire on His Majesty's troops and start the Revolutionary War, which, as you know, was a long and tiring conflict, and fortunately we came out on the winning side of that a few years later. But April 19th is a very important day because the sacrifices and the choices that people made on that day have reverberated for the next 238 years. We wouldn't have the country we have if it wasn't for what those people did on that day. And what we're trying to do is to reawaken the sleeping American in all of us by telling the stories of that day and making people aware of the amazing courage and the heartbreaking sacrifices that people endured on that day 238 years ago.
Well, that's very intriguing, and it is an eye-opener. And I know that you're having a good effect by the amount of Appleseed Project kids I talk to and gentlemen, and especially at gun shows. I am running into people all the time at gun shows that talk highly about you guys. We actually were set up next to one about a year and a half ago. You guys were set up at Birch Run like you always are, and had a really, really good 2-day conversation. And we learned a lot, and we kept saying, doggone, we're so busy with the Gunsmith Show getting it put together and happening. We don't get as much time to go out and do everything we used to on the weekends, but this does take a little bit of time. But for those of you that want to know more about this, boy, just keep your ears peeled here. Let's keep talking.
Yeah. Now you started in 2009 with your first event. Tell us a little bit about your first event, if you can.
I had recently bought a couple of rifles, and I wanted to learn how to shoot them effectively. I didn't have a lot of experience with long guns, and so I did some searching on the internet. I was on Michigan Gun Owners, I was on AR-15.com and Glock Talk, and I kind of saw a recurring theme popping up that I saw mention about this Appleseed, and so I did a little more research, and I said to myself, hey, this is something that looks really interesting. They teach fundamental shooting skills, what the Army used to teach, what the Marines actually still teach, shooting with just you and your rifle, not bench shooting, not shooting with a bipod, shooting with, and at the time I knew nothing about the history message, it was just all about the shooting, from my perspective. And I said, hey, this looks like something I want to do, and the cost was very reasonable. I think at the time, I paid $60 or $80, something like that, and went out for the weekend. It was one of the first events held here in Michigan. And so I have to admit, I was a little bit, my radar was on, well, we'll just put it that way, and I wanted to see what these guys were about. And as the weekend progressed, it just hit me that, hey, this is important stuff that these guys are doing. And when they started reading quotes about what the people who actually participated in the events of April 19th would later say in their lives, I said to myself, hey, this is a message that needs to be spread. And I didn't shoot rifleman in my first event. I had to go back a second time, and I finally earned the rifleman patch, and then I accepted what we call the orange hat to become an instructor in training. And that began my path. And it's also a self-improvement project. I'm a better person for the 5 years that I've been involved in Appleseed. I'm a better father, I'm a better husband, I'm a better friend, and these are some of the best people on earth.
I believe that. I know that every time, well, I've always looked at shooting as a learning experience. I always learn. When you're in a situation where you're having to teach other people, because I never go to the range alone. I always take somebody with me. I listen to the other people. I try to learn. But when you're in a good organized environment like that, where you truly have the leadership above you, you have intermediate people, like you said, your orange hat situation, where you're learning to be an instructor. You're a sponge. You're taking all that in. So you guys sharing the knowledge is what it's all about. You're not just in a backyard with the fences high and not talking to anybody. You're sharing the knowledge, and that's, God bless you for doing that, sir. We appreciate it. Now, when are we looking at the next Appleseed project coming up? I just because people are going to want to know, but I know we're going to get into it in more detail shortly.
Yeah, if you go to our website, appleseedinfo.org, that's our main website, and you can click on the schedule, and then it brings up the map of the U.S., so not just Michigan, you can look at any state, and whichever state that you click on, it'll then bring up the schedule of all of our events scheduled in that state. So if you look at your listening area, the next event we have coming up is actually next weekend at Lapeer County Sportsman's Club.
Awesome. All right, well, we'll get back to that in just a little bit. What do we got at a basic event? What are some of the basic things taught? I mean, I know you're getting in and out of all the different rifle poses and everything, but can you go through them one by one with us, and not poses, but positions to fire from?
Absolutely, be happy to. Appleseed is a weekend event, Saturday and Sunday. We go roughly 8 to 5 on both days. And the first thing that we do at an Appleseed, in fact, when you arrive, you'll see somebody in one of our funny hats, and they'll welcome you, say, great to have you out. Feel free to unpack all your gear except for your rifle. And that's because safety is paramount. Safety overrides everything. We want to have fun. We want to learn. We want the shooters to have fun, but safety overrides everything. So we go through a safety briefing before the shooters even bring their rifles out of their cars. Once they bring them out of their cars after the safety briefing, then we proceed with the event. And the first thing we do is we shoot what we call our red coat target, and that's kind of one of our signature targets. We fire 13 rounds, and the context is it's kind of a before and after. We fire the red coat at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, and the shooters can compare how their groups are on that first target versus the last target of the day.
Now, do they ever go the wrong way?
You know what? Sometimes they do, because the two most important things that we need you to bring to an Appleseed is, number one, a rifle that's a reliable rifle that you know well, but number two, you need to bring an attitude that willingness to learn.
Right.
And we found that novice shooters are actually easier to teach because they don't have any bad habits.
Exactly.
So a lot of shooters, more experienced shooters, like, oh, I already know how to shoot. What am I going to learn at an Appleseed? Well, believe me, you're going to learn a lot, but you have to have an open mind, because odds are what we're teaching. If you've been in the military, yes, you probably learned how to shoot that way. But if you haven't been in the military, you probably, and myself included, had some bad habits that you had to unlearn before you could learn the way we teach it, and it does work. Most of the shooting we'll be doing is in the prone position. That's the most stable position. And we go through the steady hold factors. We teach natural point of aim. We teach the 6 steps to firing the shot. including breath control, sight alignment, sight picture, concepts like that. We will teach you how to adjust your sights. We teach what we call inches, minutes, and clicks. That's a mystery to a lot of people, even experienced shooters. And if we have the facilities available on Sunday, we go to we go to longer distances. Most of the ranges in the area don't have 300, 400, 500-yard ranges, and we've scaled our program down to 25 yards.
Okay.
But if we have the facilities available on Sunday, we shoot at KD, what we call known distance, and then we start talking about how you can take what we've taught you at 25 yards and 25 meters and very easily learn how to shoot out at 300, 400, 500 yards, and that's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of knowledge. That's the secret to being a good marksman, is understanding your ranges and knowing the trajectory and knowing what you can do with the weapon you have in your hands. So
exactly.
That's awesome.
We call it drinking from a fire hose, because we're throwing a lot of information at you fast and furious. So our shooters are definitely going to be drinking from a fire hose at an Appleseed.
That's awesome. Now these events, it's not just for guys. I mean, everybody comes to these, don't they?
Right, absolutely. I like to say that Appleseed is open from ages 8 to 80. There's no minimum age. We look at it more as a maturity level. Young shooters where we might be concerned, again, safety is the overriding factor. Young shooters we might be concerned about their muzzle discipline, we'll probably have them start off on sandbags and then let them move into the positions. We call them our designated snipers, and they seem to love that. They have a lot of fun doing that. And then at the other end of the scale, you know, we've had 3 generations of shooters. We've had the son, the father, and the grandfather all on the line at one event, and that's really neat to see.
I bet.
Just to see that generational handing off of the passing of the torch, so to say.
Well, you talked about Americans being lazy, and you know, a lot of people think they can just read about this stuff and understand it, but it takes that discipline and time on the range too.
Yeah, and that's the big thing, is to get people off the couch and to come out to an event. When we're at the gun shows, everybody, you know, the people we talk to, they're all really enthusiastic about it, but the tire really meets the road when it comes to actually coming out to an event and experiencing it for a weekend. And it will change you. It will affect you. When you hear the stories about the people and what they did that day, in addition to the shooting, that's kind of, you know, the real message is the history and why this country is where it is, because of what was done 238 years ago, and that's a very important message for people to hear.
Wouldn't it be a great America if we could, if you saw this curriculum in school where they said, okay, Appleseed 101, go to room 17, you know, and this discipline was taught in schools. Jeez, what a different country would be.
We actually had that. Our Appleseed cadre out in Colorado, they actually did an Appleseed for a middle school class. And that was one of the first times that we've actually been into a school to talk about Appleseed and to talk about shooting.
That's awesome.
Because usually the two are mutually exclusive. And we're hoping that that's the beginning of, you know, a little bit of a sea change in attitudes towards firearms.
Oh, let's hope so. That's a great place to start right there. In the schools, I think we're seeing kind of a transformation a little bit too. We're seeing more of the shooting teams coming back to the schools again. We're seeing the skeet leagues and everything starting back up, and the marksman end we see through, because we're members of NRA clubs, that we're actually seeing a little bit more of that now that we're more visibly looking for it. But we got to get it in front of more kids. This is a great way to do it. This Project Appleseed, I like the name. I like the thought process. And but unfortunately, we got to go to break real quick. So, Bill, we appreciate you being here. And you can stay for another section, can't you? Another segment?
Absolutely. We'd be happy to.
Great. We got a lot more to talk to you about. So for now, let's get to commercial break. We'll be right back with more from Project Appleseed. Bill Glaser. We are the Gunsmiths right here on 1470 and 1530. Hang on tight. We'll be right back.
Let's talk about a private matter, insuring your guns. Do you know that your home insurance has limitations when it comes to insuring guns? To get the most out of a policy, you need to schedule your guns and collectibles. Zach Goodhart is the Farm Bureau insurance agent who understands guns and how to insure them properly. Zach is an avid sportsman that respects the value of your gun collection and will work with you to make sure you are covered. Contact Zach Goodhart from Farm Bureau at 810-391-2455. Zach is a board member of the local Safari Club International, a member of Pheasant Forever, and the NRA. Call Zach Goodhart today to protect your way of life at 810-391-2455.
Everyone knows Williams Gun Sight in Davison is the place to go for all your firearm, shooting accessories, hunting gear, and so much more. Plus, great gunsmiths in-house to take care of all your maintenance and customizing needs. But what you might not know, Williams has a great website, williamsgunsight.com. You can browse all their accessories, plus their huge selection of used guns. So definitely check out their website, williamsgunsight.com, and swing into the store, 7389 Lapeer Road, that's in Davison. Exit 143 off I-69. They're open Monday through Saturday, 9 until 6, and Sunday, 10 until 5. Williams Gun Sight, on the range since 1926.
I Can Build That. Say it with confidence because you listen every Saturday at 10 a.m. to the I Can Build That show. For nearly 5 years, we've been helping you around your house with remodeling, renovation, and repairs, along with money-saving hints, proper techniques, and rock-solid advice that only 30 years in the business can bring. So join Mary, Jacob, and myself, Jonathan Smith, for the I Can Build That show. 10 a.m. every Saturday right here on Flint's News Talk 1470. Proudly brought to you by Pal Alarm, Starline Kitchen and Bath Gallery, and Staley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
And now back to the Gunsmith Show with John and Jake Smith.
If you'd like to talk to John or Jake, call now, 810-743-8255.
All right, we are back here at the Gunsmith Show talking with Bill Glaser about Project Appleseed. Are you still there, Bill?
Yes, I am.
Are we saying your last name right?
Glaser, just like a laser beam. Yes.
Laser, but with a G.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. All right. Now we were talking about Project Appleseed, and there are some events coming up in the area. I know you said there's one next weekend at the Lapeer County Sportsman's Club.
Yes.
All right, and that's now how much these events? How much do they cost?
We've standardized our pricing for 2014, so a very, very simple pricing structure. It's $60 for an adult.
Okay.
And $20 for shooters under 18.
All right.
And when you think about what you're getting for your money, it's an amazing bargain. Well, Project Appleseed, we're a 501c3 nonprofit, so we're not trying to make money doing this. We're just trying to spread our message. We're all volunteers. So what the instruction that you're getting for the money is really an incredible deal.
It truly sounds like that too. It sounds. It's one of those classes. It's like everybody's get those letters in the mail about those classes that go on at the high school at night. Well, this is the class that goes on at the shooting range on the weekends.
You need to attend.
That you need to attend.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody wanted to come to these events, what do they need to bring?
We actually have a good link on our website about what to bring, but I'll just touch on kind of some of the basics. Like I said before, the first thing you want to bring is a reliable rifle. Appleseed is going to stress out your gear, so you want to make sure that you've got a reliable rifle. For example, at Lapeer, because we're in their pistol bays, we have to limit it to 22 caliber only, 22 long rifle only. However, at some of our other venues, like say at Fenton Lake Sportsman's Club, which is going to be June 14th and 15th, we're in their 50-yard rifle range, so you can basically bring any rifle up to 30 caliber. And personally, as a shoot boss, I like to see some of the centerfire rifles out there, the AR-15s, the M1 Garands, M1As, because to me that's the sound of freedom. Listening to those things go off.
Oh, well put.
Yeah, 22s kind of sound like a little wimp freedom. A pit.
You freed the farmer from the gopher.
Yeah.
But
and frankly, guys, I mean, most people do bring 22s, and I understand because on a weekend we are going to shoot 400 or 500 rounds of ammunition, and if you're talking centerfire, that gets expensive very quickly. So a lot of people do shoot 22s, And if you do have both, I would recommend you bring both. This way you can practice and do a lot of the course of fire with a 22. But then when we start shooting what we call our AQT, our Army qualification test, maybe they might want to pull out the centerfire rifle. Each AQT is 40 rounds.
Okay.
So most people shoot 22 just to save money, and 22 would be perfectly acceptable. And most rifles on the line are 22s for that reason.
Okay.
Semi-autos only?
Semi-autos are by far, Appleseed was originally designed for rack-grade military rifles, which are all semi-autos. But I've seen plenty of people with bolt guns, plenty of people with lever-action guns, pump-action guns, any type of firearm, any type of rifle, will work for you. We strongly encourage run what you brung.
Right.
We're never going to look scornfully at somebody's rifle. We're not gun snobs. Again, our main thing is we're trying to teach about the history. Bring your rifle. That's probably the best advice I can bring.
Excellent.
And what I will also say is we shoot rain or shine. There's only two things that stop an Appleseed: lightning or tornadoes. If it's raining, we're going to be shooting. So make sure you dress for the weather. If it's going to be rainy on the weekend, make sure you bring your rain gear with you. If it's going to be sunny, make sure you bring your sunscreen, because you're going to be out on the line in the sun, in the weather all weekend.
Wow. Sounds like fun.
And, you say bring your rifle, and it's looking back in Massachusetts, 238 years ago, they didn't say, well, you have to bring 50 caliber muzzleloader only.
Yeah.
It was, that you grab the gun you have and you showed up.
Whatever you have to defend
Exactly.
yourself and your life and your existence. Bill, I get a kick out of people that say, "Oh, I don't allow guns in my house, and I just don't think guns should be in public." And I say, you know what? If it wasn't for somebody with a gun in your history, you wouldn't even be here, because somebody with a gun defended somebody that allowed you to have life. And it's just the fundamentals of it. Guns save lives, and they have seriously changed this world so much by oppressing the bad people and supporting. It goes both ways, but there's got to be a good man with a gun to stop the bad person with a gun.
Exactly. And one of the reasons why one of the ways we're able to tie the two things together, the history and the shooting, is that one of the reasons that we won the Revolutionary War is because we were better marksmen than the British were.
Right.
Bottom line, the British command was present, fire. The bayonet was still the primary weapon of the British military at the time, and we were better marksmen, and we won the Revolutionary War. One of the reasons is because we were better marksmen. So we use that marksmanship as a way for people to reconnect with that founding generation. That's our thread connecting us to the founding generation, is marksmanship.
Pretty amazing.
Now, what's the significance of a sling?
The sling, the primary thing that we teach about a sling is that it's a lot more than just something you can carry your rifle with. The sling is used, the way we teach the sling use, and again, this is what the military taught back, say, during World War II, and what the Marines still teach, is that the sling is used to help stabilize yourself and to allow you to use just bone and not muscle to create a stable shooting platform. And if it's done right, a person with a sling is every bit as stable as a person using a bipod.
Sure.
And that's by the end of the weekend, you'll be getting in and out of your sling. You'll be able to do it in your sleep, blindfolded with your other hand. I mean, you'll get so much practice doing that over the weekend. You'll almost have that muscle memory just by the end of the weekend. You're going to be sore, you're going to be tired, but I guarantee you're going to have an absolute blast at an Appleseed event.
How much ammo do you bring? You said 300 to 400 rounds, or is it more or less, or is it depending on you how much you want to shoot, or are you required to shoot that much?
Nobody's required to do anything. Even when it comes to the positions, if it hurts, don't do that position. If you want to take a break, if you're feeling a little bit tired and you want to skip a couple of courses of fire, that's fine. But we normally recommend people bring 400 or 500 rounds of ammunition. So if you're talking 22, one brick of ammo.
Okay.
That's usually what we're going to shoot in a weekend.
All right, good. Now, what's next on the agenda? What else goes on? Is there other types of events you can have?
Yes, and thank you for the segue. We have a new type of event that we just started doing the last year or two called Liberty Seeds.
Okay.
And what Liberty Seeds are is only the history. So no shooting, no guns. So we can do this anywhere. We do them in libraries. We do them in VFW halls. Heck, we even did one in Plymouth at a brewery. That was at the Liberty Street Brewing Company. They were nice enough to host us.
That's awesome. Wow.
And the tavern was a big social center back in the 1700s.
Sure.
Being able to do it 238 years later in a quote-unquote tavern was kind of neat.
Oh, I bet.
And all we're talking about is the history. And it's going to be about an hour to 2 hours. And we will do them for any group, Boy Scouts, we'll do them at a library. We'll do them for any organized group or any group of homeschoolers or a homeschool co-op. And the best part about Liberty Seeds is that they're free. We will do them free of charge anywhere in the state.
All right. That's I really want to go to one of these as soon as I can, because that to me is the secret to our success, by spreading the good news, teaching people the basics of why to become a marksman, why to do exactly what you're supposed to do. As an American citizen, I believe it's our personal duty to be good riflemen, and I'm certain you feel the same way.
I agree. I believe it's a life skill that everybody should have, just like I believe it's a life skill everybody should know how to drive a manual transmission car or motorcycle. It's just a skill. A person should be able to pick up a rifle, figure out how it works, and shoot it effectively.
There you go.
I like to start off my events with a quotation. If you'll indulge me a little bit, on April 20th, 1775, John Adams, our second president, rode out on Battle Road to see the aftermath of what happened the day before, and he saw some things that were worrisome. He saw the burned out wreckages of homes. He saw refugees who had left their homes for fear of British retribution. And he saw the bodies of his countrymen being hastily buried because they didn't want the bodies desecrated by the British soldiers. And he would later write in a letter to his wife, "Posterity, you will never know how much it costs the current generation to preserve your freedom. If you do not, I shall repent in heaven that I ever took half the pains to preserve it."
That's a deep
And I think that sums up in a nutshell what we're trying to do. Is we're trying to relate people back to those pains that people took back then.
Goodness. Well, sir, we certainly appreciate you being a great American and doing what you should do at the time. You're in the right place at the right time, and you're making this happen. So thank God for good folks like you. We sure appreciate it.
Thank you very much. If you'll just to indulge me with one other thing, we'll be at the NRA convention. If anybody's driving down Indianapolis,
sure.
We'll be in booth 2945. We're giving away a couple of boxes of 22 ammo every day.
Oh, that's
so
worth it.
Come over to the booth, sign up, and when you might win a box of ammo, because we know ammo is still kind of hard to find.
It can be. So, well, sir, now how else do we get a hold of you? We want to go over that one more time if we can.
Best way to get a hold of me, very simple email address, just MI for the two-letter abbreviation of Michigan, mi@appleseedinfo.org. And for Liberty Seeds, you can just go to libertyseed.org and send us an email, and we'd be happy to set up a Liberty Seed with you and your group.
Sounds good. We'll work on that, and we'll, of course, be spreading the good news through our Facebook page, here on the radio, on the World Wide Web, on our website and everything. So we'll do what we can. You keep doing what you're doing, because we're darn proud of you. Thank you. I appreciate you taking time this morning. Sorry you're not in Massachusetts, because I'm sure you'd probably love to be there.
You know what? My brother-in-law, who's in the Army, a veteran of 2 tours of Afghanistan, he was able to get leave last minute and came to Michigan to visit my family. So family comes first, and of course, he's one of the reasons why I do Appleseed. I'm too fat and old to join the military, so I do Appleseed instead.
Well, thanks for your service to our country, sir. You're doing your part, that's for sure. Well, we sure appreciate having you on.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. And again, it's Bill Glaser, and appreciate you so much being on the air with us. And take time and be with your family, and enjoy that family time this Easter weekend. Well, folks, we got to go to commercial break. The Gunsmiths will be right back after just a couple commercials. So hang on tight, fill up that coffee.